Okay, and welcome to 360 Podcast. Today I've got two special guests, Philip and Stephen. Now, Philip and Stephen run a business. They're both directors of this business. It's a business membership for a service that connects entrepreneurs and people in businesses. So I met them during the pandemic. We're going to talk a bit about how that happened. But welcome to you both.
Hello.
Thank you.
It's a hot one today, isn't it?
It is a real hot one. As I was saying to you guys earlier, mine is hit 35, almost 36 degrees in this room.
Well, I'm dressing summery just to try and maybe bring the heat down a little bit.
Well, you know, as I was mentioning earlier, I'm probably in Outcast. I did have a vest on before, like 5 minutes before, and I was thinking, oops, that's probably not the right thing. Or maybe the right thing. You've got a nice bright split on there. And I really don't know, Philip, how you're wearing that suit and jacket. I know that's part of who you are.
Yeah. Well, I don't bother about the weather, you see. So it's just that Stephen's just being very wimpy.
Oh, there's no way I'd be wearing one of these on a day like today. Most days, actually.
I must admit, I put a jacket on, no matter how hot. But today, do you know what? If I'm going to actually complete this podcast with you guys, I think I better just stay cool. So first thing I want to say is congratulations to Philip. Your sister has just had a baby, is that right?
Yes, just a few days ago. So yes, it's her second child, so a new little niece.
Brilliant, fantastic. And what did you say her name is? What is her name?
Olivia Jane.
Olivia Jane, lovely, wonderful. Right, okay, so KuKu Connect. Now, for those who don't know who KuKu Connect is, explain to them who you are.
Okay, so KuKu Connect is a business membership service connecting businesses and entrepreneurs right across the East Midlands, but wider than that now, right across the Midlands and to other parts of the country. So,
and sometimes other countries.
Well, yes, more recently, even internationally. But so at the heart of our service is business networking. But we try to do something that's more appealing, more fun, more effective for businesses than perhaps the more traditional networking styles. And one of our key things normally outside of the pandemic is we host what we call Connect receptions in different counties across the region at exciting venues, from castles to gin distilleries to farms and art galleries, to bring businesses and entrepreneurs together to network and connect, to support businesses and do something really effective and fun.
Brilliant. It sounds really good.
Philip always covers the intro bit really well, so I'm just like, yeah, that, basically.
Exactly, that's what the partnership's about. One's good at it and someone at the other, yeah. So exactly. Okay, so I know now who you are, and hopefully my audience will as well. Now, I met you guys during the pandemic, during the lockdown. And I kind of recognize you more together because what you fondly call the KuKu family. Is that correctly? Am I putting that? So the KuKu family, and that's because you straight away at the very beginning put your service out there for free for everyone to connect, and you supported those businesses which obviously were struggling, had lots of challenges, lots of people were pivoting as well, so they needed to relaunch. So let's talk about that, because obviously loads and everyone knows what was going on. They had their own personal thing, but from your personal view, how did that kind of affect you as you started doing this?
Well, we had that awful week like everyone else did. I think about the start of April, where suddenly everyone thought, oh my God, what do we do? Everybody cancelled everything and sort of just went into panic mode. But even before that, about a week or two before that, we sort of saw this was coming, and we thought, well, we're really fortunate to be in a position where we've got this huge database of contacts who know us and trust us, and we are all about connecting businesses. So we thought we could either hide under a stone until all of this has gone away, or we could be proactive, helpful and supportive, which is really what we genuinely are, and use everything that we have to carry on connecting businesses. So we did just that through a variety of different formats that we're still doing today.
Right, brilliant. And I mean, Philip, you yourself, I mean, do you found that you have stronger relationships with businesses and entrepreneurs now?
I would say that we've always had really great relationships with our business members. what we've done now is strengthen those relationships and create new ones with businesses that perhaps have never had nothing to do with anything with KuKu Connect before, but they've seen online or through an email or through someone telling them that we have been set up to support businesses through the pandemic, as you said, without any charge, just to try and support the economy, and also charities as well, that people have, you know, sent lots of really nice comments. And actually that's been probably the one key thing that's actually motivated us to carry on ourselves, because, you know, behind the camera of smiles and doing our morning bulletins and the KuKu cocktail hour is a very worrying time for KuKu Connect as well, because to an extent KuKu Connect as a business is on complete pause. So that means that pause in every sense, that our Connect receptions aren't taking place because of social distancing, or the income that comes from KuKu Connect membership to make KuKu Connect viable and sustainable is gone. So it's been a real challenge, but I think that I'd like to think businesses, you know, have valued what we've been able to support them with. And I know that it's been helpful because of all of the wonderful comments that have come in from businesses saying it's helped them from getting their brand out there, getting them new customers, connecting them with new businesses from other areas, something with their marketing, their exposure. And many people have said actually it's just been the one positive voice or fresher breath air they've had each day that's just helped them personally on a mental and a well-being point of view. So it's actually been amazing to see the impact of what has been achieved by the pandemic services we'd set up. And somebody asked us the other day, how did you go about deciding what to do and how to set up? Actually, we were very spontaneous, and we took about 10 minutes. They said, oh, we could do a video each morning, we could do an online networking thing, but how do we do it a little bit different? How do we do it so it's not so boring? Because people that come to the KuKu cocktail are online with us for you know, over an hour. So it's quite a lot of time to keep someone's concentration and keep them online. So all of these things have made a great impact.
But we're very creative as well, and we like to use our creativity as much as possible. And I think one of the important things that we both said right on day one was we knew there was going to be an absolute barrage of negative press being shared everywhere and fear being drummed up, and we wanted to be the antithesis of that by just sharing positive news stories, offers, happiness, smiles, all of those things that you really need at a time like this.
Yeah, I think your business before and after, should we say, the pandemic is completely different from my point of view, because as you have to use that word KuKu family, I think the support from others are stronger now than they were before, only because people really understand now what connecting really means. And I think you guys actually cemented that, what that was. And that kind of made people feel better. Whether you, of course you knew this, but it was already there. There was already networks there, including yourselves. But when those networks shown their true colors, when this lockdown happened, a lot of them faded away or just went online and just carried on as normal. And I see what you guys did, and you used, you know, you're saying you used all of your kind of skills and creativity. And the thing is, you've used 10 minutes of your time and gone, right, let's go and do this. Or someone could spend longer and maybe they're aiming too long. And you just got on with it and gone, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Bang.
Well, I suppose it's also the nature of a crisis. I mean, this has, you know, this word crisis has been a crisis. And when you're in a crisis, you don't have a long time to think about strategy and plans and what's the best fit and the perfect solution. We just kind of got on and did something we thought that would help. And as I say, you know, we're surprised ourselves when people tell us the impact it's had for them personally or their business. And actually just the reach has been amazing. You know, KuKu Cocktail Hour, where we had over 5,000 views from just one of the cocktail hours.
Wow.
So all the businesses that we talk about in that hour where we say, this is so-and-so from this business, they're great at doing this, that, or the other. All of those people are being introduced to those businesses. And actually we we discovered again by chance that a business that we were talking about and connecting with at one of the last cocktail hours, they're based in Western Supermare down near Bristol, Somerset.
Yeah.
And we just thought, oh, you know, we're connecting with businesses in Wales. So it's been really, really great. And actually we've had businesses at the cocktail hour say that they're tuning in from Italy, France, Spain, Ireland, and even the USA. So it's been a fantastic.
And I think the other good thing as well is unlike maybe doing a social media post where once it's been done, it's scrolled all the way down the feed and effectively gone forever. All of our videos are on our YouTube channel as well. So if anybody does want to just sit and watch them, a lot of the content is evergreen as well. So no matter when you watch it, it's still going to be relevant. So if you're looking for a personal stylist or an accountant or whatever, chances are we're going to be highlighting and showcasing one in those videos somewhere. So
yeah, cool. Okay, well, I will put in the script on the video, where they can find those and your website, etc. So
please do, yeah.
Okay, so right, we know that there's support and everything's happened. What we don't know is, how did you guys get started in KuKu Connect? How did it all start?
Okay, so rewind about 5 years or so, and I have a creative marketing business. Something that we never sort of pushed through KuKu Connect. It's a very separate thing because KuKu Connect is purely about connecting businesses. But I was doing a lot of networking for that. And I was getting so bored of, first of all, I hate mornings. So I really loathed waking up before 9 a.m. and doing any networking. And I used to become so bored of standing up and talking about myself for 60 seconds, then listening to 40 other people. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It just didn't work for me. So I thought, well, how can we take all of the best elements of networking, pull them into one event and throw away all of the ones that we don't like? So we got together, we had a bit of a creative session, and we came up with KuKu Connect then, launched in Leicestershire in 2016, after a lot of barriers we had to leap over, weren't there? A lot of people said, oh, the networking industry's saturated, what's different about you, blah, blah, blah. But we launched, and then it just went so well, and it just snowballed, and we got more and more people interested, asking us to come to Derbyshire, Lincolnshire. So we've expanded throughout there, and it's just sort of grown organically, hasn't it?
Yeah, very much so. And I think just to add to what Stephen said is that I go to lots of networking events. I go to things in London at very fancy places. I go to very local things in a nondescript room and be forced to drink some awful instant coffee. But the interesting thing is that I'd be at the back of the room with lots of other businesses that would be sat there moaning about the event that they were at, saying it was boring, they didn't know why they came, it was a waste of time, but they were still going. So it was clear to us that there was a need for something a bit more different, a bit more effective, but not just let's set something up to try and get a load of businesses and get something out of them. And sometimes that's the mistake that networking things can make, because they look at, what can I get out of it for me? What can I get out of it for my HR business, my law firm, my whatever business it is? And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but true proper networking should be about, how can I also help all of those people that are networking with me? What have I got to offer? So I think that sense of family, but at the time, the sense of creating a real community of businesses that not only did good by connecting businesses together to create more business, but also about those businesses as a family, supporting the community, supporting charities, getting involved in other business initiatives. Because essentially, if you've got a flourishing place for business, that's going to be good for everyone. That's going to be good for that county, that region, that town, that city, wherever it is. So I think that's what we really set out to begin with. And we actually, when we set up in 2016, we made some quite bold commitments that we wanted to raise money for charity. We wanted to support organisations and initiatives that dealt with unemployment, young people going into enterprise. And this was before we even knew whether or not, this idea of KuKu Connect would even work. Because, as Stephen said, we'd got lots of people saying, not sure it will work, it's saturated, lots of barriers around people's belief in something that was new.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think also as well, there's a lot, we see a lot of people set up their own networking groups, and we're always about collaboration. We hate this word competition, because I don't think you can grow your business that way. But I think a lot of people underestimate how much work it takes and how much you actually do have to genuinely care about the businesses that come along. It can't just be, like Philip says, a numbers game all about the money. You've got to care, and you've got to actively want to help them. And I think that's sort of maybe part of the recipe of our success.
Absolutely. And I think also that, obviously, as Stephen said, a lot of networking groups are set up by someone that has another business, and they're partly using it to bring people together to promote their product or their business. A great idea, and it works. But I think for real, true business networking to be successful, you've got to be giving people connecting and networking opportunities every day, not just once a week, once a month. Because otherwise it turns into, you turn up, you hand a few business cards out, and then you go, fingers crossed, hopefully something will come from it. And I think that, you know, there are lots of great businesses out there that perhaps aren't interested in networking because they've had some bad experiences, or they just think it's not going to be worthwhile for their sector. And again, as Stephen said, that we're very lucky that we've organically grown, because people say, oh, when are we going to get a KuKu in our area? Or organisations say, we could do with KuKu Connect coming to support businesses here. And people see they're getting much more value out of. As I say, we describe ourselves as a business membership service, because there's so much more to KuKu than just networking, or the old-fashioned sense of networking.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I will say that since the lockdown and meeting and what you're doing, it definitely has put your members, the family members, have come on, and they are supporting. They are doing exactly what you're saying. It is a skill. It's a skill as well to network, and there are many, as you described. It's not for them, but it actually is just they don't know specifically how to do it, because as we all know, we've got those who feel that they have to sell to the person, his colleague, and they don't actually get the concept. But I do see that in your group, and I'm not self-advocating what networking is, but I'm certainly see in your group that people are understanding what that is. And maybe the pandemic has helped, because they realize everybody's in the same boat, and that's helped as well. So you obviously before were on a physical aspect, people will go into you to venues, and this is probably not going to be for a while again. I mean, when are you thinking of starting that?
Well, we were discussing that earlier today, actually. And I mean, obviously, the government advice is the key thing that we all have to look for, or look to at the moment. Of course, that does change dependent on the virus levels, but actually, I was looking at some legislation today that said from the 1st of October, business events should be able to resume. Okay. Obviously, that will be within certain, you know, safety and distancing measures, and also making sure the environment that event takes place in is, you know, considering things like health and safety and, you know, all the various things that, you know, are now in place to keep people safe. But we do hope that, you know, October might be that month where we can, you know, kickstart things again, because actually business networking to so many businesses, certainly freelancers, micro businesses, SMEs, startups, but even right through to quite large established businesses, business networking done in the right way is actually a vital lifeline for businesses, because by going out and meeting people and connecting, it is their advertising, it is their marketing, it's how they build collaborations, they find partners, referrers, and ultimately clients, and secure new business. So I had a one-to-one briefing, or we had a one-to-one briefing with one of the Westminster MPs to talk about this subject, because obviously we have such a wide audience. You know, we're talking to businesses every day about the challenges they're facing. So we were able to kind of put that forward to, you know, into Westminster to say, look, you know, business networking events, they're not a jolly, it's not like a team lunch or a team well done. So it is a bit different from a work gathering, which was the term, you know, government were using at the start of the pandemic.
Oh, were they? Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Hopefully there's been a distinction now between a team jolly, which of course are great things, and I'm sure they'll come back, but between businesses being able to connect to build and secure new businesses is vital to those individual businesses, but it's also vital to the country and the economy to get back and going. And again, the Chancellor, I think in the news today again, saying we're now starting to hit the hard times in terms of the economy. So anything that we can do to support getting businesses back to the levels that they were pre-lockdown, pre-pandemic is vital to everybody.
Yeah, It's interesting. So you're keeping connecting with Westminster by do you for the audience sake? Who do you write to? I mean, someone like Westminster. Right?
Well, we've been having some communications with the East Midlands Chamber and some of the MPs that are connected to there. Darren Hendry is one of the MPs that has been liaising with us in terms of what's happening for businesses, what is it like out there, and really great that actually they're hearing those, because sometimes you can find that things are very London centric. But of course, out in the wider world and the wider country, things can be quite different. So I think it's great that actually there's a number of voices, we're just one of them, that are talking about what business is like for local people at grassroots level, right through to county, region, and so on. But some of these, this is the beauty of KuKu Connect, because we have such a community and family orientation. We're well known for that. So organisations do come to us to say, please support this, take part, can you spread this message? So, we're fortunate to have MPs and other influencers that are part of that KuKu family.
Yeah. I mean, the MP, Darren Heckerby, did you say?
Hendry.
Darren Hendry.
Yeah.
So what area, what's his
So he sits within Nottinghamshire, and his constituency is Brooks-Stephenson. So he's a local regional MP. So of course he'll be wanting to hear about how it is and what businesses need within the locality, which is great, because again, that means that he's hearing from local businesses outside of London, and that voice and messages is then going to to government in terms of the advice and information that need to come from businesses.
That's great. That's great information. It's good to have a connection, especially an MP. Some may not be. There might be what we call a little bit just the chat, but it sounds like you're getting good rebounds from him.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I suppose politicians, whether or not they're local council or MP, it's very easy to complain about such people, but actually they're there to do a job, and actually, there are a great deal of them that actually are very much there to try and support the area that they represent. So that seems to be the case from, this particular one that that has come to us and said, tell us what's happening, what can we do, what can we do to support? So yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so we know that hopefully October you guys are going to maybe relaunch in. I can use the word relaunch, but we'll get back into it physically.
Bounce back. Yes, because we've really never, and I think this is an important thing. We've never gone away, or KuKu Connect has never gone away. We've kept being there in case actually with our daily video morning support bulletins for businesses. We were there literally every day, and in fact, actually just last week we reached our 100th video of promoting businesses, giving out a daily tip, telling businesses about opportunities, events, webinars, training. So we've been.
I think the difference is we'll all be able to see each other in person, hopefully, even though you may be sick of seeing us by then.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a big difference. I mean, there are so many people, I say so many, who are sick of the screen, looking at the screen, looking at people, because they can't interact the way they physically can. And some can adapt, some can't. So I do feel for them. I understand it. Most of us do understand that. But it is here. It's not going to go away. It's going to be here for a long while. So if starting your in October, do you still see continue doing this on video, or will you stop, or what would that be the plan?
It is. I mean, we're forever looking at what we're doing, and we never want things to become stale. So we will be continuing on screen, and we will be relaunching our Carry On KuKu videos in a slightly different format. Obviously, a bit tight-lipped about that for now.
Okay.
But at the moment, technically now, we're actually on our holidays, which hasn't took place at all. We've ended up carrying on working.
You got your holiday shirt on.
Exactly, I'm trying to live best life. But so the videos will be coming back in a slightly different format, more exciting, more varied. With regards to online networking as well, that's something that I imagine will stay with us for the foreseeable future. But we're constantly reviewing things, so we're constantly making sure that people aren't getting bored of the same thing, and that it's staying effective as well, most importantly for businesses.
I think really through the innovations, all types of businesses, ourselves included, over the pandemic, we look to the best of those and think, well, how can we combine that in terms of improving and developing the service that we offer? What we're very keen to do is to continue supporting businesses, continue to providing opportunities for businesses, because I think people and businesses are desperate for opportunity, for being able to make connections. You know, we talked earlier about it being a vital lifeline for business. So I think we want to take the best of what we've done, as Stephen said, kind of remodel that to bring something new and exciting that's still supporting, but bringing ever more opportunities to businesses and organisations. So
yeah. I think the good thing is, I think a lot of our sort of die-hard KuKu Connect members will be itching to get back out in person. But then there's also a lot of people that we've met during the pandemic that are from other areas in the country that it's just not feasible for them to come to an event in Leicestershire, for instance. So that will be, so therefore there's kind of always going to be a need, I think, for this online presence in whatever format we choose to do.
What if, I was going to ask you about that, because obviously your new members that are going, you're an international group now, but yeah, not all of them are going to be able to see you. How about the idea of, and it's something you may have already thought of, but when you are doing your actual network, physical network, you must think of a different word than physical. It sounds could sound a little bit odd, but when you're doing your networking, about filming that live?
Well, there are those options. Actually, a couple of ideas have sort of sprung to mind this morning. They just randomly appear in our heads, and yeah, that is definitely an option. I think at the heart of everything we do, we want it to be effective, though. So I think, as fun as some of these ideas are, when it comes to the reality, it doesn't work quite as well. But we're always 100% open to new ideas and trying new things. So you never know.
And in a way, you know, part of that existed already. So yes, businesses would come to their local Connect reception, you know, to where they're a member, say in Derbyshire, Lincolnshire, Leicestershire, so on. But actually there would be a whole video that was put together about the Connect reception host that would feature some of the businesses that attended, and they would say, I've enjoyed it, or maybe they've said not, or how it's been helpful to them, or what they've got out of KuKu Connect. So actually there'd be two videos that would be taken just before an actual physical event, and then afterwards in kind of a follow-up. We do that one because actually that's a great way of showcasing some of the member businesses, but also one of the reasons that we go to all these different great venues in and around the counties is actually to promote and showcase them not only to the physical crowd that come, but also to that wider crowd that will think, well, I'd like to go to that restaurant, or I'd like to find out about that gin, or I'd like to go to that gallery farm, or wherever it is. So, and that, again, that's another way of KuKu, the KuKu recipe of actually supporting the best of you know, the region in terms of tourism, heritage, and inward investment.
It's interesting because it was that long ago, I'd actually forgotten that we did these videos, but again, you can see them on our YouTube channel as well. We've got different categories, and it's Connect Receptions it's under, and you can see all of the fabulous places that we've been, and it really is a nice way to showcase both the venue and the business as well. So take a look.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, well, now we know a lot about KuKu Connect. Let's learn a little bit more about you two guys.
Oh, bye then.
So listen, your two characters, which obviously is why your business is successful, if I may say that, and it helps to have another person with you. So I'm going to ask you a question, not personal question, but I'm going to ask you a question about, although it helps to have someone else, or I believe it helps to have someone else because you've got one motivating the other, what are the frustrating things that you find with each other?
Philip's messy on his desk.
There's nothing on the desk.
Well, there's nothing on the desk because it's all on the floor. Okay, so the frustrating things, I think the frustrating things for me is communication. Sometimes we have over the years kind of, it happens to have found our own roles, but I think during that journey there were times where it's like, why haven't you done that? Why would you do it that way? And I think it's just because I've obviously got different brains, but now we're in a place where we kind of have our defined roles. So we know that I'll always do X, Philip will always do Y. So, yeah, do you want to say mean things about me now?
No, we're not looking for mean.
That's Stephen's roles. No, I mean, I think the obvious thing is sometimes you just don't disagree, because if you're just one person, you make all the decisions, you make the final decision on everything, and at the end of the day, you ask someone's opinion, you can disagree with it and go, no, I'm going to do it this way. So naturally, when you've got a partner or a number of partners or a board that you answer to, sometimes you're not going to get everyone agreeing with you. So that's always one issue. But actually, as Stephen said, over the year, over the time, and actually very quickly, you develop a synchronicity of your skills, and that then goes into the role and work that you're focused on. But also that's sort of come out within our brand, and you use the word two characters. I think sometimes people do think that we are, characters in a way, and actually that, within our work, but also with our brand, we are two distinctly different characters. That's come from our strengths and our skills.
Well, that's from real life, isn't it? That's what we are actually like, and obviously we live together as well, so that bond is naturally there. But I think as well, actually, the creative process is quite interesting when there's two of you. And we've actually had that this morning. We've had a bit of a creative session, and it does. I'm quite fiery, and so I will maybe not raise my voice, but I'm quite passionate. And then Philip's quite the opposite. So there is sometimes that push and pull during the creative process, but it does mean that you get the best results because we really challenge each other's ideas so that we make sure that it is the best idea to implement.
Yeah, absolutely, and it works. I was going to sort of say it's a little bit like dictator versus diplomat, but it works.
Well, now interestingly, I put that question in purposely, if you like to call it a negative question, because usually you put a positive question before the negative. The reason I did that is because I took that risk, because I knew that you would bring that into a positive without even having to ask that question, and you did that. You actually brought that sort of, first of all, about, oh, I don't want to be mean or whatever, but you actually turned something, what's frustrating, and you used the word synchronicity, how you synchronize together, now you conform to each other, using each other's strengths, which shows great partnership, and it's fantastic to see. And also what's people need to know as well is that when we talk about characters, Philip, the reason I use characters is because a lot of people who go to networking have to remember that we are seeing with our eyes. So if you're not memorable, you're going to not achieve what you really want to achieve. So I know some people go in. I'm trying to Making, who I've had on here before. I know she wears a hat, so she's kind of known for wearing a hat or prop. Although in this weather, good luck with that. But she's remembered. But you guys are remembered because of your character, and there's two of you, but also distinctive different ways of dressing. If you both wore bow ties, it still would have been remembered, but you're both completely chalk and cheese.
Yeah. Opposites attract.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think as well, the important thing with everyone, us and people that network is to remain authentic as well. And sometimes, and we do see people, we did see some people come to our Connect receptions, and you could see it was maybe their first time, and they were trying to be this idea of a business person that they think they should be. And so we'll always make it our mission when someone is brand new, we'll sort of take them under our wing, and we'll sort of say, look, relax, be this, be that, do that. And it just helps people be themselves, because, and if you network a lot, you can see through people straight away, I think. And so it is so important to be authentic.
I agree.
And I think also, as Stephen touched on, that one of the things that we think is one of the most important assets to KuKu Connect is that we're often referred to as the most welcoming or the most friendly kind of networking out there. A lot of people are really daunted by going to networking or having to speak. We have a motto of no pictures, no presentations, no push. So actually, if you're new to networking, or you're one of those sectors where you think, is it worthwhile for me? Is it relevant? People come and they'll meet other business owners or directors or partners. And actually, there's a lot of, this is the family element again, there's a lot of peer-to-peer sharing, discussing issues and problems that, you know, our different members will discuss with one another, you know, in the privacy of what KuKu Connect's all about. But they'll talk about problems and challenges, not only problems and challenges within their day-to-day business or with their team, but also, you know, how business impacts on one's personal life as well, because it is a constant, it is such a commitment.
And if you work on your own as well, if you're self-employed and it's just you in the business, I used to do that, and it's incredibly boring. And so sometimes you just want to go out and see another face and talk to someone else, have a cocktail, have something to eat, and have a good time as well. I mean, that's what it's about, isn't it?
The cocktail gentleman is brilliant. I do like your thing about supporting newcomers. That's something definitely missing, because they're coming to networking, as you quite rightly said. They are not being themselves. It's not that they're being forced. They just feel that they have to do that, and they don't realise what really networking is.
And it's so frustrating for us, because actually we hear almost every week from businesses, and they'll say, I went to this type of networking, I went to this networking thing, I didn't feel welcome, I felt like I was being sold to, I felt it was a bit cliquey, a bit like a club. That's, for us, that's the total opposite of what networking is about. Networking is about meeting new people, making new connections. So you might find KuKu Connect at a very grand location, like a castle or a hall, but you'll always find a very friendly welcome wherever we are. And I think that, you know, it's that family thing, it's that sense of community, not a, you know, a snooty club, which, you know, sadly sometimes people tell us they experience.
I have to say I've experienced it, not too many times, but I have experienced it. I think it's interesting, because when you're networking on a platform, LinkedIn, for example, from my own personal experience, I made the mistakes. Well, I say I made the mistakes. I saw it as a professional platform. So there was I had to conform to an idea of what LinkedIn was about. And to be fair, LinkedIn was a little bit stiff, a little bit too professional, if that's the right thing to say. And it's only when I started getting better connections, like yourselves, that I realized, you know, and over a time and experience, you think, oh, actually, that person's being quite honest and real, and that's what you want to be.
Yes.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think LinkedIn always had a bit more of a colder feel to it than such as Facebook or Twitter, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. But it is so true. And I think sometimes you have to tweak maybe what you'll post on LinkedIn versus Facebook a little bit. But I think ultimately it's coming from the same person, isn't it? So it's like you're talking to someone else in a different accent or something, isn't it? It's just authenticity.
That's a good, yeah, I like that. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it is exactly that, isn't it? You're definitely not genuine. If you're not the same person on all those platforms, then you put it on stage. Unless you're an actor, and you're doing something purposely, it is that. What's interesting is that on LinkedIn, all of my experiences and the reason of changes that I've seen is it's the women are more upfront. They're more upfront and more out there. You know, I mean, they'll just, you know, they'll just effing in this and whatever. They're not worried about what people think, you know, not all of them, some of them, and that's great. It's really refreshing, and I think a lot more men are reserved than women these days.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of get that balance, don't we?
Yeah. Well, I think at the end of the day that it is, you know, if you're using LinkedIn for business, which most people are, you've still got to stand out. You've still got to attract someone to read what you're saying rather than scroll down. You've always got to be real and genuine, otherwise you will just sort of disappear into the background, or people won't be able to connect with you or empathize with you, which will be one of the things that will bring them in. And I think also that, you know, if you're trying to kind of build up collaborations and with clients, that you've got to ignore what everyone else is doing. You've got to do what you feel is right for you in your business. And it reminds me, Steve, that I think when you started using LinkedIn, you'd done something and someone told you off for tagging them in, didn't they? And so I put on a comment, I said, ignore them, do whatever you want, doesn't matter. Because the whole point of LinkedIn is to link with people. It's a networking function. So actually linking in and tagging in people. And just like networking from a physical point of view, sometimes people get a little bit too precious a little bit too territorial about who and where and what they will do or what they want to publicly do. You know, and I kind of think that's just, you know,
No
it's
time
rubbish,
for that,
really.
is there? No.
Yeah.
You
No.
know, the people that are real and show their personality on any platform, including LinkedIn, usually are the ones that get the most likes, the most interaction, the most engagement, and they'll be the ones that stand out.
It's a good example you used there. Yeah, just for the clarity for the audience, there's a on LinkedIn. There's a you can do a post and then send that post to your connections so they can see the post. Well, I didn't realize it was a personal email, as it were, or personal messages that all the groups were to combine together. So you weren't getting it individually, you were getting it as a group. So every time there's a message, you kept getting pinged all the time, which I got that. And as you quite rightly said, Philip, there were quite a few who were very stuck up about it. That's my explanation. And there were others who were very honest and explained what was going on. I had no idea, you know, and I felt so bad about it. But quite rightly, you know, it's like, well, okay, it's a mistake. I put my hands up. Sorry about that. And those true people came forward, like yourselves, and said, you know, it's a mistake. You know, that's what you've done.
But you can always leave the conversation anyway if you don't want to.
And two things I say that you can almost not. There's almost nothing you can do wrong on social media. That's the great thing about it. Unless you're going to say something that's really controversial on the verge of being rude or you know, that will upset a lot of people, you can't really go wrong on social media. And actually, one of the things I find really interesting at times is that you can find that business people will be very rude to one another or very short and sharp. And I think, gosh, why on earth would you do that? Because that could be your next collaborator, could be your next client, because you'd never be like that with your customers and your clients. And I think that's interesting.
That's actually my pet peeve, to be honest. You know, when people, it's often people that are quite new into business and they think, again, I have to be this sort of person. And so they're quite blunt and short. And I thought, would you be like that with someone on the street? And I just think it's a great way to make people disconnect with you.
Yeah.
So don't do that to people.
And I would say, actually, business, in very successful businesses and very successful business people are also just as guilty as people that are a little bit more new to such things.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Because I think sometimes people will reach a certain level of business and kind of think that they're on some sort of very important platform. And, you know, I also kind of think, gosh, you know, everybody starts off brand new. So all the businesses that are doing well and should be, you know, are successful and have reached that level that they want to get to, they should always be thinking about people that are starting out and supporting people and encouraging new businesses rather than chastising them.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I have seen that. I mean, we have to define that what you guys and what we're talking about. I'm totally with you. I've always been, if something's not said right, either just ignore it, just go away, you bite your tongue, because you're then being seen as a negative person anyway. If you start to say, but if you're being constructive with it by explaining to them, probably best if you put it this way and because of this reason. But if someone's been personal, and I've seen people being personal or being, I don't know, racist or discriminating or whatever, then fine, you know, like I said, more, I mean, men as well, but more I see women coming on and they're kind of like, they just don't let them go. They just say, well, you know, and then they're off, they're gone. But that's because women have had that background where they get personal messages, a lot of personal messages, which are inappropriate. Although I've had I don't know if you gentlemen have had any, but I've had a few, I'm not going to say inappropriate. I was kind of like, oh, thank you very much. But, you know, but
listen, we've probably had everything said to us and about us, but we both have thick skins. And so at the end of the day, if you're a good human being, we'll like you.
I don't think we get very many, but if sometimes I get a really blunt and rude email to someone, I'll respond back to them and actually challenge them on their behaviour. And I'll actually say, did you mean to say this or did you mean to be rude? Because actually, you know, bad behaviour, rude behaviour should never be tolerated.
But sometimes though, you know, if they get you, if one comes through and you're in a bad mood yourself, it's very tempting to go right.
Well, that's the difference between dictator and diplomat.
Yeah, so sometimes Philip will just say, right, I'll deal with it because otherwise I'll be knocking on their door. You know.
Yeah. But that's I don't know when I learned this lesson, but probably when I worked in an office for a little while, and every time there's an email that was from even your own colleagues, because you can read emails wrong as well. They have that underlined, but I have to read it. If I read an email, and I've never had a rude email since I've done this business, but if I had a rude email, I'd walk away from it and then come back later with a different, because like you said, different reaction. You've had it, taken it in, and then because last thing I want to do is regret my email. You know,
that's the right way to deal with it, isn't it? Sometimes they're so.
It's the right way, but it's not the right way.
No, and I had an email recently that an email. Actually, the email that went to this individual was all about the free support that we've been giving to businesses. So it was a nice email. It wasn't trying to sell anything. It wasn't pushy. And a response came back with a capitals no exclamation mark. So I let them calm down. And so the next day, I then wrote back and said, I'm not quite sure what the intent of your email was. If you'd like to do this, you need to do that, and that's no problem. This is the reason we emailed you, and this is what it was. So, I suppose I went back to them and just sort of challenged them indirectly on, I think, rude behaviour.
But you know what, as well, though, I think if somebody's going to be that rude and generally angry, I don't know if they'd really fit in with our group of people anyway. So,
I would say I think probably that's not generally what you would think. I know you would judge not judge. That's the wrong word. You would see that by seeing the whole picture. But I think sometimes we don't know, especially during the pandemic, the anxiety and the people have been completely different. I've seen someone that I've had to stay away from that was a lovely person. But again, emails, I mean, I take on average probably writing an email or even a text, maybe 10 minutes. And that's because I know that the nervousness of someone reading a text message or an email and not reading it in the way that you intended it to come across.
It's quite tricky, isn't it?
And it's easy to do that, especially I mean, my English is not as good as many that I communicate with. However, I still wouldn't expect anyone to come back to me and then criticize that, which I have seen on LinkedIn. Don't want to slate LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a good page, but so persons are we take them as it. We're all of us who've got the experience. We know to deal with it, and as you said, you kind of have to kind of allow. I like that you give them a day. It's not actually as I've explained. You give them a day.
I think my thoughts are, if someone's sending you an angry email, then they're angry literally when it comes through to your inbox. So if you assume that they're angry and you leave them alone for half an hour or wait till the next day to then send your response, then they perhaps will have calmed down.
This is like when we have an argument. Sometimes Philip will have to give me half an hour or a day, and then we'll deal with it. So you're quite right, really. People are complex, aren't they? And especially during these times, everyone's stress levels are up here. So a lot of people aren't acting as they probably normally would, are they?
No. So
and I think that if you two things of advice there are: do business with people that you like and that you get on with, because people that you don't, they're probably going to be your most troublesome type of client. But I think when we've been talking about essentially challenging rude behaviour within the business setting, do it privately to that person, to their face. Don't try and publicly shame them on a public platform. It's otherwise your behaviour is no better than theirs. The examples we've been talking about, that would have been a private one-to-one email or a private message on LinkedIn. It wouldn't have been a public post, because I don't think that ever makes anyone look very good or sheds them in a personal, in a positive way at all. So
brilliant. Okay, listen, we've gone way over our time. It's been really interesting conversation.
Because you've got two of us, you see, so.
Well, that's it. We can put it double, so we've got good reason. So, so for the future, as we said, we know, hopefully in October you guys get started again. People can get hold of you through Facebook. They can get hold of you through LinkedIn. Are you on Instagram?
We are.
Yep.
KuKu Connect.
So we'll put those on. We'll put those on as well. Any?
Yeah.
What's your preference of people connecting with you?
Well, the best way for people to connect, well, find out about KuKu Connect is to go to our website. So it has lots of information about KuKu Connect, how it works. And email is the best thing, because if you email us, that's the best platform for us to get back to you quickly, and also so that we can send you out the information about the free support services. The other thing that I would say is that our new YouTube channel is now out. And that's a great thing as well in terms of kind of keeping in contact with us. If you are an audience outside of the East Midlands, that's going to be a key platform going forward. So do subscribe to that, because you'll see all our news, opportunities for businesses, and some great information there.
You just need to search KuKu Connect on YouTube and the channel should come up. But there's going to be loads of great content going on there in the future.
Okay, well, we'll make sure those links are in when I post this, as well as we'll have it some cleverly scripts coming through of your pages and stuff that you can get hold of.
Wow.
Wonderful. So thank you very much, gents. You know, I call you gents, but Stephen and Philip. It's been a really wonderful conversation with you guys. It's been enlightening as well. I'm glad we've had you both on, especially now we're kind of semi out of this pandemic now, and we're looking future, whatever that future is. But I think it's looking positive. Certainly what you guys have said, it's looking positive. So once again, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much. It was lots of fun.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching.